What's going on there, friends and neighbors? Before I get this video started, I just wanted to say that I got the Hiya Toys Rodan from a lovely little website called INS Hobby. They carry a bunch of the Hiya Toys releases. They've been getting the Exquisite basic Godzilla stuff in pretty dang early, and if you catch the pre-orders early enough, you actually get a reduced price. The only downside, though, is you are going to have to pay full price for the figure at the time of pre-order. But shipping is relatively cheap, and when you look at old Ghidorah over here, you're only going to be paying $108 instead of $130. That sounds like it's worth it. I'm definitely going to be doing that quite soon. Anyway, let's get started.
ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Rodan from Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Paint and detail wise, Hiya Toys and their Rodan is quite lovely. But I wouldn't say that he's perfect though. But in that same breath, I don't think any of the 2019 Rodan figures have been anywhere near perfect. In fact, up until now, I would have said the NECA Rodan was probably the best articulated Rodan we got. But what about Hiya? Let's take a closer look. My only major nitpick with this figure is just that I wish there was some reds, maybe a tiny little bit of yellow kind of mixed in with the base color of the figure. This rusty orange on black and dark brown really isn't a bad thing. I just think a little bit more red, maybe even some yellow, really could have communicated lava a lot better. But other than that, I really don't have any complaints when it comes to Rodan's paint. The rusty orange can be a little heavy-handed in some areas as compared to others. Doesn't really bother me at all, because, I mean, Rodan's kind of covered with lava? Or is he coursing with lava? I'm not sure. Whether this was intentional or not, I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't mind. Even with the wanting of more colors, I will say that this guy does look like cooling and drying lava in bird format, so I can't complain. Just look at all of the amazing details on these friggin' wings. Oh my god. They did such a great job on this. They really, really did. Just to go into handheld mode for a sec, here is Rodan's tail, the back of his body, and it's got all of that rusty orange there. And it just looks so damn good between all of the spiky crevasses that Rodan's body has. I especially love how it looks on Rodan's very broad shoulders and chest over here. The detail on the chest in and of itself with all the little spikes and such, it looks so nice. Moving into the neck and head, there he is, our cheeky little Starscream stand-in. We've got a nice itty-bitty little eye right there. You can barely even see it. But the paint and detail moving throughout the head and neck region is really, really nice. We do have some paint splooches or unpainted bits on the serrated part of Rodan's beak, or just his teeth. And unfortunately, I've got a bit of wonk eye on the opposite side of the figure. You can even see that the eye was definitely applied a little bit lower than it really should have been. But here's the best part. You really can't tell. Am I a little bummed? Sure, but for the most part, I don't care. Lovely, lovely details on the top of the head with some nice paint highlighting all of those details. I do think it's rather important that I mention that these horns are a nice soft material, so if Rodan in any event does fall off of a shelf, the horn should be fine. The tip of Rodan's lower jaw over here is also rather malleable feeling, so if he takes a nosedive, I think this would be pretty good too. And as you can see, we have a nice pink tongue on the inside of Rodan's mouth with some nice details on it. It's not overly pink or distracting from the overall aesthetic of Rodan, unlike somebody else's tongue. And I'm quite thankful for that, yes. Looking at the bottom of Rodan's feet, he's going to have a lot of that color variation, but he's going to have some nice black claws over here, both up here and over here. As you can see from this side view over here, they are going to match. No unpainted Duke claws here, or whatever that would be in terms of pterodactyls. I mean, just look at the tail. Again, it looks like cooling lava. I love it. I really do. I love this look for Rodan so very much. I feel like he's got so much more personality other than giant dinosaur with supersonic speed. But I will say, the palm of Rodan's hand over here does feel somewhat underpainted. The other side definitely feels and looks like it got a bit more, and I'm not sure what's going on with the color over here. Maybe this was intentional, I don't know, but I did think that rather strange. But likewise, the claws are going to be black on this hand, and on this hand, and as I already showed, the paint and detail back here is sublime. We've got a few bumps in the road here, sure, but it's nothing that I would ultimately condemn the figure for. Yeah, I am a little confused as to the coloration of this hand. Semi-bummed about the eye, but overall, I would give this guy a solid star in terms of details and a solid star in terms of paint. You might need more red and maybe a little bit of yellow, but at the end of the day, at least I got the aesthetic of the figure right. SH Monster Arts articulation! Rodan can open and close his mouth like so. I'm pretty sure this is about as open as you're going to get with the mouth. Ball joint at the head over here. There will be a ball joint at the centerpiece of the neck over here. It's just moving it and really showcasing it is a bit of a pain in the butt, but you're also going to get a ball joint right here from the neck moving into the torso, and that will allow you to look all the way up. Look at that, yes! Yeah, it looks like he's praying to God and asking him to kill Peter Parker. The only little downside is that looking down, you can't look all the way down. You can kind of get eye level over here. Moving into the body, we get a nice little ab crunch. Can move back that far and forward that far. It will have some slight rotation side to side. I'm a little too afraid to move it any further than this. We will get a ball joint at the stumpy little tail over here. Can rotate all the way around. And now we're at the legs. The legs can rotate all the way around at the thigh. They can kick forward about that high and then kick back about that far before it feels like you're kind of forcing it. You'll get a nice bend in at the knee and bend out, including a rather nice swivel. You'll also get a nice bend at the ankle or something. Yeah, I guess that could be the overall name of the joint. And it almost feels like it's on a single ratchet because it clicks slightly, like it's a click you can feel, not so much here. And yes, you guessed it, you can rotate at the ankle as well. And this hinge, yet again, feels like a ratchet, but I don't think it is. And now for one part of the figure that I'm sure is going to make or break it for a lot of people out there, the arms and wings. The arms at the shoulders over here are on ball joints, so they can make a full rotation, and they can also move up about that far and back down about that far, up about that far and back down about not too far. That's my only minor gripe with the arm articulation. You're not really going to get a deep flap out of this guy because he doesn't have hinges. He's got ball joints. But the overall accommodation for Rodan's lack thereof a deep flapping motion at the shoulder is going to be with the bendy wired arms. The bendy wire starts here and ends all the way over here. So this right here is probably the deepest flap you're going to get out of this thing. But give it a good bend right on over here. Please do not bend it right near the shoulder or the wing will pop out. I know from experience. The figure did not break, but it did scare the crap out of me, and there's a nice deep flapping motion for Rodan right there. Yeah. Just look at that. And with the help of the arms, when you raise them up a little bit, you can bend in that same area, just like so. Just be careful and a little delicate with them, and you'll get a nice wide triumphant flap out of Rodan as well. And hey, you can go a little bit deeper with it too. Just look at that curl you can get out of this guy. If you're brave enough, you can even do that little spin move that Rodan did in KOTM to fend off all of the jets, the barrel roll, and look at that. It's the perfect S. Well, hold on. Yeah. Now it's the perfect S. And you know what? I'll be honest. I feel pretty comfortable using these bendy wires. They don't feel like they're going to break. I mean, I'm being rather gentle with them if you really couldn't tell, but I think these are some pretty high quality looking bendy wires over here. I personally really dig the bendy wire in this thing. It feels very reliable. Don't be too rough with it though, because if anything snaps in there, you're done for. And they feel like they'll last. I've dealt with bendy wire a lot in my time, and I can tell a shit one from a good one, and these are two good ones. So, articulation is going to get yet another solid star from me. Now let's move on into some quick posability shots, huh? Posability-wise, this guy is nice and agile, and those bendy wires in the arms just feel perfect. I don't feel like I'm fighting with the bendy wires to get a good curve or bend out of them. I don't feel like they're going to break as long as I'm gentle with them. Overall, I really don't have any set in concrete complaints with the articulation. I feel like what we got is essentially all we'd need. But if I had to nitpick, I wish the ab crunch on the figure was a little bit deeper, and I wish the ball joint for the tail was a little bit more on the freeing side. But for the most part, we got everything that we really needed, and the figure looks great no matter what. And before I end this video off, I'm sorry I gotta do it to you. Here is Hiya Toys' Rodan versus NECA's Rodan. I really don't think there's much competition between the two, save for NECA Rodan having a much more sturdier stand. Now here is Hiya Rodan and his wingspan, including just another shot at his underbelly, and then here we have NECA's Rodan. Yeah, Hiya Rodan is much bigger in terms of the wings, and, you know, now that I'm looking at NECA Rodan under some right light, I think I can definitely say, in terms of paint and detail, Hiya Rodan clears. But I'll always be a sucker for NECA's paint job on Rodan, at least when it comes to the ends of his wings. Homie just be looking a little too charred. And just look at the differing paint jobs here. Oh, I was so worried this Rodan would look like NECA's Rodan, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Oh, I'm so happy. And I'll be honest, I think Hiya's Rodan has a little bit more shelf presence than that of NECA's, save for, yet again, the stand. The stand for NECA Rodan, it lays flat, right on the ground, no issues. It's only going to shake and move about if you shake and move it about, but for the most part, Rodan stays on there just fine. When it comes to Hiya's Rody though, not exactly sitting flush there. And I think it's mostly just due to the weight that the figure has, especially in his upper torso moving into his wings. Future Rob here, and I can tell you confidently that the stand is warped. The base is all warped-de-dorp. Oh yeah, the stand also comes with stand connectors, probably to connect Mothra and Rodan stands together. Pretty cool. That's a lot of figure to be holding up. And there's one other thing. You can see that this thing is kind of tilted downwards a little bit. Well, the stand has swivels at every intersection. Yeah. So at the base over here, you're gonna get a swivel. At the midpoint over here, you're gonna get a swivel. Closer to the top, you're gonna get a swivel. Over here at the claw, you're gonna get a swivel. And of course, they all operate as hinges as well, just like that. And you will be able to get it to go straight up. Just don't expect it to stay. Holy shit, it's actually staying. Wow. Well, I guess you gotta turn it sideways like that, but hey! Okay, I stand corrected! Well, technically I'm sitting, but yeah. It's just, with this stand, you really need to know how to distribute weight properly, because just like that, one little bad movement and he will go careening out of that claw onto the table and or floor. So I really don't suggest having the stand solely like this. Definitely get some bends in there. Unless, of course, you have a stand like this. This is absolutely my preferred stand for Hiya Toys Rodan. It's weighted on the bottom, and you can actually get a lot more poses out of Rodan with this stand without having to worry about it being, well, you know, falling over all the time. So if you want to pick yourself up a stand like the one that I'm using right here, it's available on Amazon for 20 bucks. So I guess if I had to say anything, the stand could have used a little bit more, so I'll give the stand a half a star, but for the most part, Hiya Toys Rodan is going to get 3 solid stars. Moving on into size comparisons, this guy, he's pretty freaking big. I mean, I know I showed some size comparisons at some point in the video, but wow, those wings are going to take up some shelf space. Thankfully, the stand is big and tall enough to kind of clear some figures there. It's just a matter of if the stand is going to hold up over time, which is the one thing I'm worried about, but I've already discussed it. When it comes to scaling well with Kong and Godzilla, I mean, I don't know if this is movie accurate. I really don't care, but they all look great together. And that's all that I really care about. It doesn't need to be 100% movie accurate. I mean, half the time in KOTM, I don't even think they remember that they had to keep the monsters in scale for some shots, because sometimes it's just really weird. But I'm not a movie reviewer. I'm a figure reviewer. This is great. Cutting back to my face. Yeah. I am absolutely going to be having a hard time putting this figure down because it is just so much fun to mess with. And look at that. He ain't falling off there. Those hooks are on nice and tight, and he is secure. Cool. That's about going to wrap it up from me with yet another Hiya Toys review. I do so hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like, share it around, let your friends and neighbors know Hiya Toys released a pretty dang good Rodan figure. And now you don't need to pay over $100 now for an extremely bland Rodan and a melted chocolate bar looking ass Mothra.
Uh-oh. Stinky.
Check out my social media, check out my Patreon, where for $1 a month you get access to everything I have to offer you. And when next we meet, we'll be talking about the latest Movie Monster Series figures, Final Wars Goji, Final Wars Manda, and Final Wars Hedorah, finally. And I'll see y'all then and there. Peace.